Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Sportscaster and her son, where sports bridges the gap between the generations. I'm your co-host, 12-time Emmy Award-winning sportscaster Peggy Kaczynski from ESPN Radio here in Chicago. I'm the mom. I'm the sportscaster, one of the sportscasters, and I'm the baby boomer. Hi, Jason.
There you go, Mom. I'm Generation Z. I'm Jason Conander. I am 22 years old, covering sports and news out here in Manhattan, Kansas. It's a great time all the time, but super excited to talk some Bears with you, Mom. It's been an exciting season for the Monsters of the Midway, a resurgence that we kind of expected, but now that we're actually there, this has been fun.
Well, you know what's weird about it, Jason, is that the first game, the opening game against the Titans, Caleb Williams looked like a rookie. And people started to go, uh-oh. And then their second game, they thought, oh, they won, but he didn't look that great. Now we are seeing the improvement, and it's not just incremental improvement. It's leaps and bounds. I mean, I feel like every week when I'm doing my homework to prep for the Bears game, you're writing new superlatives that he has set records for a Bears rookie. He has set records for a rookie in the NFL. He has set records continually. And you could just see the ascension of Caleb Williams going this way. Yes, nobody is acting like they have played the Ravens and the Chiefs, the 49ers, not yet, but he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and that is improve each week against the teams that he has no choice against who he's playing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so glad that you reminded everyone of that because NFL fans love to act like, oh, you haven't played the Chiefs and the Ravens yet. It's not like college where you pick your schedule and schedule out your opponents a year in advance. The NFL figures all that out. I've been impressed. I think, when you look at the numbers, Mom, the thing that you mentioned a lot leading up to the season was that the Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer, and they might have one this year. Like the numbers are it's going to be close.
Yeah.
But if you factor out those first two games where Caleb was still figuring it out, maybe those were the best two defenses they played. But if you factor out those two games, he'd be well on his way on pace for that. And so he's looked impressive. The Bears have looked good. I'm excited about the defense, though, Mom. I mean, we talk a lot about Caleb, and we talk a lot about, everything that he's done, changing the quarterback position for the Bears. But this defense has been fantastic, and this is a Commanders team that they're going to go up against who hasn't faced a good defense yet this season. So especially if Jayden Daniels doesn't play, and I know we're all hoping he does so that we can get the 1-versus-2 matchup. But if he doesn't play, this is going to be a show on the defensive side of the ball for the Bears.
Well, let's not forget also that when Jayden Daniels left that game in the first half last week, Marcus Mariota came in and looked really good. I mean, this team is number 2 in the NFL in scoring for a reason. And Kliff Kingsbury has put together a very quarterback-friendly offense. They have a very good offensive line that can do wonders for a quarterback, and they have a ground game as well. So it's a really good matchup for the Bears. But like you said, gosh, I really want to see Jayden Daniels against Caleb Williams. And then you worry that, like, if Jayden Daniels isn't 100%, it's going to be like, well, he has a rib injury and, he wasn't 100%. But from all accounts, what we are seeing is that he is going to try to practice on Friday. I don't know if a rookie quarterback in the National Football League can start a game with only one day of practice. And remember, Fridays are glorified walkthroughs. It's third downs and special teams. So I don't think it looks great, to be honest with you. And when you come out and you say he's week to week, that almost always means he's out this week and we'll see how he is next week. So it's too bad.
It is too bad, and honestly, you have to look at the big picture of things. Like this game for Jayden Daniels and for the Commanders probably won't play a big role in the grander scheme of their season. Like we know that they're 5-2, but I don't still view them as a postseason threat. And especially in Jayden Daniels' career, I mean, going out there with a rib injury. You know, we talk about how these hits add up. An easy way to make those hits add up a little faster is by going out there with a broken rib and re-aggravating it. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be great to see Caleb against Jayden Daniels, but you hope that this is the type of game, Mom, that is a prime time matchup for like the next 5 years. Like with the way that these guys are looking, we don't need to see Caleb Williams versus Jayden Daniels right now. You know, give me that next year, week 2, Sunday Night Football, and then give me that on Thanksgiving 2 years from now. Like, we're good. We'll take the Bears win. I know you said Marcus Mariota looks good, but man, that is a completely different game between Jayden Daniels and Marcus Mariota, even though they were second overall picks 10 years apart.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right about that. I think more than anything, outside of the hype of the number 1 and the number 2 quarterbacks and the number 1 and the number 2 picks taken in the NFL draft, I think more than anything, it's really important to watch the development of these 2 quarterbacks. And what you're seeing out of both of these guys is actually really similar. And we're going to talk to our guest about this, one of the assistant coaches for the Washington Commanders. But you're seeing accuracy out of Jayden Daniels and maturity out of Jayden Daniels. He's very poised in the face of competition. This is the same thing that we are starting to see with Caleb Williams as well. So what I am most interested in, because nobody was expecting the Commanders to be in this position right now at this point in their season. And nobody was, well, some people were hoping the Bears would be in this position. So more than anything, I want to see the continued improvement and to know that indeed Caleb Williams, after an off week, going back to his hometown, is going to be able to continue the ascension that we have been watching the first 6 weeks of the season.
Amen to that, Mom. And I'm excited that we're going to get that coaching perspective from the Commanders, from Jayden Daniels. You hear so much noise on social media, people who think that they're experts. Let's just hear from somebody who's in the facility, on the practice field every single day with the guy, and talk a little ball.
I do want to tell you that I talked about some of those superlatives for Caleb Williams. It's just so crazy. It's crazy what you see right now. He has had back-to-back games with a 100 or more passer rating. He's had back-to-back games with 5 offensive touchdowns. 3 passing touchdowns would be a first rookie since like 2020 to do it in back-to-back games since Justin Herbert. So indeed, it's a big deal. So, Jason, back in 1996, I had just come back to Chicago. Dave Wannstedt was coaching the Bears, and they drafted this young face out of Penn State in the second round of the draft, number 81, Bobby Engram. And what a wonderful young man. Wait, Bobby Engram is with us now, the wide receivers coach from the Commanders. Bobby, how the heck are you?
Peggy, I'm doing great. I'm doing really well. How about yourself?
You know what? I can't complain. I cannot believe how many years it has been since you were here in Chicago. I mean, like 30 years ago. You and I think we look like we're both just out of college, right?
Yeah, we're just getting better, like fine wine.
I appreciate that. We really wanted to talk to you because this Commanders team that you are now a part of the coaching staff has just caught the league by storm. What an exciting time. And we, of course, here in Chicago are very hopeful that we are going to see the number 1 and number 2 drafted quarterbacks, the top 2 picks in the draft this weekend. I'm not going to ask you to give anything away. I wouldn't put you in that position. But let's talk about what Jayden Daniels has meant to the Commanders and how almost seamlessly it has seemed he has been able to transition to the pro level.
Yeah, he's so talented, obviously. But I think there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that make it seem seamless. So, he's a tremendous worker. He's super smart. The guy loves every phase of the game. And I think he's done a really good job as a young player that's come in here and worked hard and remained humble and kind of earned the respect of his teammates. And of course, he's playing well. And I think Kliff and Tavita and all of our guys that work with him have done an excellent job of preparing him.
Did you see anything on tape from him or when you saw him play at LSU that you're surprised to see carry over at this level? I mean, typically, like here in Chicago, we saw Caleb Williams the first couple of games, the speed of the game, identifying the blitzes. It was a big transition at first. But
Right.
something that I think Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels have in common, they're very mature. And they have this poise and this leadership about them that transfers onto the field that it doesn't seem like they get rattled.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Those guys are so talented, but ultimately they're both really competitive, and they've played this game even in college at a high level and for several years. I think both of those guys have a lot of games under their belt in college, and I think that it's never an easy transition, especially for that position. But I think the maturity of those guys is kind of shown because of the amount of snaps they had under center or, behind the quarterback in college. And for Jaden in particular, his accuracy showed in college and it's really showing, right now and through this first, 6 or 7 games in the NFL. But again, the work that he puts in and the time that he's studying film and the amount of work that we put on the field, it doesn't just happen. So give him credit for the hard work, but also the talent.
Coach, you were an incredible player in college. I mean, winning the Biletkinoff Award and first team All Big Ten and all these different honors.
Jason, the first Biletkinoff Award.
Really? I did not know that.
Biletkinoff Award winner, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're right. You're right. Thank you for that.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So anyway, my question is, when you perform at such a high level in college, Jaden won the Heisman last year. He had put up huge numbers at LSU. Do you come in with a different kind of confidence, sort of like, okay, I just dominated this last level. Now I'm going to come into the highest level and play the exact same way?
I think to play quarterback position, you got to have confidence. I think there's a difference between confidence and coming in and being arrogant, which this guy's been humble and he's worked. I think there's going to be some transition from the college level to the NFL level. But I think you have to maintain that confidence when things are going well, and I think you have to stay the course when things don't go so well, especially at the quarterback position.
When I look at this receiving core, with the exception of De'Ami Brown and Luke McCaffrey, I see a lot of veterans, a lot of established guys. Noah Brown and obviously Terry McLaurin and Zach Ertz is a tight end, but he's been such a big part of what you guys have done this year. And what role have the veteran presences played in bringing along Jaden so quickly? I mean, you guys are 5-2. Everything's really fallen into place quickly.
Yeah, I think it's just veteran guys know how to play the game, and I think they've done a good job of communicating how they see the looks versus certain coverages, depths of routes, splits, the spacing on the field. When you have veteran guys that have done it over and over, they know what it looks like. And I think we've just put in a lot of work and time to make sure we nail down the timing. So credit to those guys for the work that they put in.
Bobby, you've been in the NFL for a long time. I mean, you had a nice long playing career. You jumped right into coaching after you finished playing. Tell me about what Dan Quinn does differently from other staffs that you have been on, and how working with Kliff Kingsbury has really accelerated all the changes that came with the Commanders.
Yeah. I think, Dan has done a phenomenal job of creating a brotherhood, and a culture. Back in the day, we used to say team chemistry. And that was just a bunch of guys that really enjoyed each other playing on the field and away from the facility, but also loved playing the game and played the game the right way. And that's really what Dan has brought to the table. And it's, it starts with the new ownership. Mr. Harris, Adam has done an unbelievable job of acquiring different talent and the pieces that fit who we are and who we want to be as Commanders. And Dan has been a great leader in facilitating that. So it's been great, and it's been fun to be a part of watching how hard these guys work, how much they care about each other and how much they have the willingness to prepare to go win games.
One of the things I was reading about Kliff Kingsbury's offense, everyone looks and sees how Marcus Mariota just stepped right in, did a great job filling in for Jaden last week. And everyone walked away saying, well, that's what happens when you have a quarterback-friendly offense like this. But we all know there's details that come with how you coach an offense that leads to that success. And one of those details that I saw was the number of walkthroughs you guys do. Is this a little crazy? You guys tell us about the walkthroughs.
Well, it's just, you got to look at it as meetings, like class on the grass, if you will. So instead of traditional meetings of us being in a classroom setting, which we do have, we do more walkthroughs than most probably. But that's an opportunity for the guys to rep it, to see it, to talk about it, to communicate it, to get splits correct, get depths of the routes correct, and just see the spacing. So it's something new to me, but it's certainly something that Kliff has had us a lot of success with, and I think it's working pretty well for us. And Marcus, a veteran guy who, again, I keep saying the same thing, but this guy is working behind the scenes. It doesn't just happen, regardless of what offense it is. He's done a great job of preparation. He's done a great job of staying ready and studying film. And again, Tavita, they're doing extra work on Thursdays and Fridays, and in the event that he does have to go in there and play. So give those guys credit for the preparation time that they've put in, and it showed up and it really helped us last week when we needed them.
Does it feel like?
Let me just ask this real quick, Jason. Do you even recognize this Bears team? I mean, when you left, Dave Wannstedt, was Dave Wannstedt still there when you left the Bears?
Dick Geron was the head coach.
Okay. Yeah, I actually sat here one day, Bobby, and I said, okay, I started in Chicago when Mike Ditka was fired, then Dave Wannstedt was hired, and then Dick Geron, and then Mark, and that, the number of head coaches we've been through.
Lovey did a good job there. Lovey did a good job there.
Lovey did a great job. He did a great job here. But the one thing that you can even admit that has been missing with the Chicago Bears, because they used to say wide receivers came here to die, was a franchise quarterback.
Right.
And to see now how they are using Caleb Williams and how they are very carefully bringing him along. I've been here for over 30 years. I've never, ever seen this type of quarterback come in and the care with which they are taking it. And this is across the league now. We're seeing this with these young quarterbacks. But do you even recognize this Bears team?
Yeah, I do. I mean, obviously, my time there, it was we were in a tough division. The old NFC Central. The Packers went to back-to-back Super Bowls, and the year Minnesota was 15-1, and then the Tampa hired Tony Dungy, and I think it was 97 or 98. So they turned it around pretty fast. We had some talented guys, just couldn't kind of get it all together. So my 5 years there was not great, but in terms of the wins and losses, a great experience. I love the city, love the people. I love playing for the Bears. But in terms of wins and losses, it wasn't the best stretch of the Bears' history, and that was tough because you want to come there and be a part of a historic organization. You want to put up wins and you want to win the division. But what it wasn't meant to be, but they've had success over the years. But I agree, it's been a tough finding that franchise quarterback. My time there, I think I played with 9 different guys in 5 years, which is hard. That's hard on any franchise. But they have a good one now. And, it's a really cool thing for me just because I've known Caleb. I've seen Caleb. He played high school football with my son. So I've seen him kind of grow and mature, and obviously really happy that he's doing well. This week is different. It's going to be all business. But as far as just the young man and the success that he's had going to Oklahoma and transferring to SC and doing what he's done, I've kind of watched him grow up like, a kid that you root for.
Wow. We got to go back to that he played high school football with your son. The fact that he lived in his own apartment in high school, to be able to
Mhm.
be given the autonomy to focus on football, is to me one of the most amazing stories of support from parents and trust without going the really hardcore, way that we have seen over the years that just backfires. What was it that you saw in Caleb as a high school player and the way his parents were bringing him up that you thought he really did have a chance to succeed?
Obviously, you saw the talent initially, like athleticism and his arm talent. For he came in and played as a true freshman, but also talking to head coach down there, Randy, just his willingness to come in early and stay late and really work hard and grasp the details of the offense. It all goes back to work, Peggy and Jason. Like any of us that are successful, we have to put the work in, and he did that as a young man, and you saw that early on for him.
With Jaden, does it feel like he's a rookie? Like you guys picked him less than 9 months ago, and I mean he's already doing great things. Does it feel like you have a rookie quarterback?
Yeah, he's still a rookie, but he's just a different rookie. He's just talented. He's mature. He carries himself the right way. He works hard. He may be an atypical rookie, and I'm happy. I'm happy for him because obviously he's playing well for us, but I think guys like that, the way they go about their business, I like that.
There's plenty of guys on your coaching staff there in Washington that can give advice to the young players. But Bobby, when you came out of Penn State, I mean, you were a stud at Penn State, setting records. Some of your records still hold there at Penn State. And what's interesting is you had some of your best games in the biggest games. How
Mhm.
do you talk to a young rookie, a young player, on taking in the bright lights of the NFL in a big city like our nation's capital, or for Caleb,
Mhm.
Chicago? Like, how do you consult them into being able to put on your best abilities at underneath these bright lights?
I think, Peggy, you prepare for those moments away from the bright lights. I think the hard work that you put in the film room, the amount of work that you put in on the field, like really the details of running routes and catching the passes and all of the extra work that goes into it, and the way you practice. I'm a big believer in practicing hard and practicing well, so that you don't have to worry about how it's going to go down in the game. You've already worked on it. You've already practiced it. So that's my advice: is if you're going about it the right way and you're practicing hard, as big as that moment may be on the outside, it's another rep. It's just something that you've done 100 times, 1,000 times, and you do your best to stay in that moment and go and do the best on that individual play, regardless of the situation.
Okay, I know I said we would not ask you about Jaden, but I do have to ask you this one question. We know that he hasn't practiced, but can a rookie quarterback play an NFL game without practicing all week, or going through a Friday? As we know what Friday practices are like, is Jaden capable of that?
Yeah, I'm sure that that'll be determined. That's not for me to determine, but I'm sure that's happened over the course of the history of the NFL.
It's fair answer, Bobby. You're the best. It's so good to catch up with you again. I hope you and your family are well. Be kind to the Bears on Sunday. Like, don't feel like you have to shove anything down their throats, okay?
I'm looking for a great game. Those guys are talented. They play hard, and it's going to be a good football game. So I'm looking forward to the matchup. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate your time.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Bobby
Thank
Engram
you.
with the Washington Commanders wide receivers coach, former Chicago Bear as well. Bobby, thank you.
You're welcome, Peggy.
Jason, when I tell you that Bobby Engram was one of the nicest young men I covered in the Bears locker room, I kid you not. He was a wonderful player out of Penn State. And, like he said, they weren't on some really good teams there at the end of Dave Wannstedt's career and then the start of Dick Duran. But what a wonderful guy. And he's a great wide receivers coach. He coached Steve Smith, all pro. He coached Mark Andrews, all pro. He's doing a heck of a job. He really is. And something I want our listeners and our viewers to know that after we turned the cameras off and stopped recording, I did ask Bobby a personal question. He lost his daughter, Bobby, to sickle cell anemia. And for a family to lose a child is it's not the natural order that it should be in life. And he and his wife have started the Bobby Engram Foundation, and it's Bobby with an I. His daughter was named after him, Bobby with an I. And it is helping with sickle cell anemia research and those dealing with this disease and spreading awareness as well. So I ask all of our followers and our viewers, our listeners, to please, if you have it in your heart, to reach out to the Bobby Engram Foundation and do your part in what we can to stop such an awful disease like sickle cell anemia.
Well
okay,
said,
Jason,
Mom.
with that being said, I just love him. He's such a good guy. Do you have predictions?
I mean, is that even a question at this point of the sports calendar? We're in the middle of October. There's every sport in the planet is going on. I've got big predictions this episode. We're going to lead off with my World Series prediction. We got Dodgers and Yankees. Thank the heavens. I mean, baseball, Rob Manfred, I know he cracked open his nicest bottle of scotch after that World Series was solidified because, oh my goodness, what a great scenario for baseball. Anyway, let me get to it. I have the Dodgers in 6. I think Shohei Ohtani is going to take his first of many World Series championships and World Series MVPs. I'm like putting all my chips in the basket on this being Ohtani's October. So I'm really excited for the series to get started, but give me the Dodgers in 6.
I love that pick as well. I think that when the Yankees were stumbling, the Dodgers were not, and Ohtani is a primetime player. He loves the spotlight, so I like that one. What's your second prediction?
This week, the NBA season opened, and I love my Chicago Bulls, but boy, they are hard to watch these days. And so I have a pair of predictions that have to do with the Bulls. First off, Zach LaVine's going to be traded before the first of next year. He looked really good last night, at least like the Zach LaVine of old. I think, I should preface it by saying he still didn't play any defense, but he shot the ball well. He was the Bulls' top option. He scored in volume. And that's, the type of guy that teams will give up something to trade for. So I've got Zach LaVine getting traded before the first of the year, and I have Josh Giddey finishing top 3 in comeback player of the year, most improved player, they call it in the NBA. But as a quick aside, if you are one of those people on social media, like still chirping at Josh Giddey for the whole thing last year, just shut up. I mean, he's in a new city. He's younger than me, actually. Let the guy have a fresh start. And if you want our basketball team to be good here in Chicago, then let the athletes play instead of making fun of them on social media all the time.
I have a prediction coming off your Bulls prediction. I will not be buying an antenna. I will not be going backwards in time to buy an antenna so that I can watch the Bulls and the Blackhawks. And it angers me because I would like to be able to watch them. But this whole new network that they are on, not being available to every household is so annoying to me. Anyways, whole nother story. Yes.
Really quick. I watched the game last night on crack streams. So if you don't have, an antenna or something that carries the new Chicago Sports Network, type in crack streams or Sports Surge. This is how my generation watches sports. So to our older generation who is listening at home, if you're, punching air because you can't get your Bulls and Blackhawks, look up Sports Surge or crack streams online and boom, you got your sports. Anyway, time for my third prediction.
Third prediction.
My third prediction, college basketball is right around the corner. If you know me, you know that is my favorite sport. And after a ton of research, preparation, reading other people's work, watching tape, everything, I just love this sport. I can't get enough of it. I am ready to make my national championship prediction. I am going with the Iowa State Cyclones this year. I think that it's a team that doesn't have any holes, and I got to watch them up close and personal last year when I covered the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. Tamin Lipsey's a baller. He's shorter than I am, but he can handle the basketball, shoot from anywhere, and he is a natural-born leader, the type of player that you look for to lead a championship team. They've got the coaching staff, the transfers, the youth, the veterans. I have a lot that I like about this Iowa State basketball team, and I will be sure to tell everyone on Twitter how right I was about it once April rolls around. Rolls around. Ugh.
I love it. These are good. Okay, so I appreciate that we were able to get our coach Bobby Engram, wide receivers coach from the Washington Commanders, to join us today. I want to also thank our producer Jack McGrath at ESPN Chicago, where the audio version of this podcast can always be found not only on the ESPN Chicago app, but on Apple Podcasts. If you just search in the Sportscaster and her son, you will find us. And don't forget to check out the Chicago Bears post-game show. It is the pregame, the actual call of the game, and talking about people who can't get it when they're out of state. Listen to it. Listen to it on the ESPN Chicago app, and then stick around because I host the postgame along with Yurko, and it's always a lot of fun. And this Sunday, it should be a lot of fun as well. Jason.
Hey, basketball season's coming along, so I'll do a little self-promo too. I've got my podcast with the Field of 68, Hook 'em Hoops. We're back for a second season. It's going to be an exciting year of Texas basketball. Super excited to team up with the wonderful people at the Field of 68. They do awesome coverage on college basketball. So that'll be a lot of fun these next few weeks and months. Mom, I know that you were about to ask where people can listen to or watch our show if they like it. And
Yes.
so if they do, anywhere that you get your audio, but primarily the ESPN Chicago app is the best way to listen to us. The only way to watch us is on YouTube. And if you like, rate, and subscribe on any of those, it really helps us out. So if you're listening on any app or anywhere that you get your audio and you can like, rate, and subscribe, please do it right now.
Follow Jason at Jason Conander. You can follow me at ESPN Peggy or at Peggy Kaczynski. And you can follow the podcast at TSAHS Pod. That's the Sportscaster and her son pod. We also have a website, the sportscasterandherson.com. And you can find us on Facebook. Yep. If you're an OG like me, you can find us on Facebook too. That's it for this episode. A big week with the Bears and the Commanders, the top two quarterbacks taken in the NFL draft. A lot to look forward to with two young guys, and the future of the NFL is looking really bright with this young crop of QBs. Fun to talk about it today. That's it for this episode, Jason. Have a great week.
Have a great week, but I think that we have a little more to talk about, so I think that I'll see you again soon for another
We might be
episode,
back
Mom.
sooner than everyone expects. If we get one more interview this week, which we just might get it. So, all right, everyone, enjoy your football week. For Jason, I'm Peggy. Take care. So long.